All right, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. The Cleveland Browns just went from bad to absolutely bananas, and I'm not talking about your typical offseason drama. This is different. This is the kind of chaos that could either save this franchise or send it careening off a cliff, and honestly, I'm not sure which one is more likely. But here's the thing, we're all watching now, aren't we? Because when the Browns are involved, you never know what's coming next. So here's where we're at. Mike McDaniel just backed out of the head coaching search. Their top target, John Harbaugh, never even made it through the door. The Browns are scrambling, and I mean truly scrambling, trying to figure out who's going to lead this team. And in the middle of all this chaos, one name keeps popping up that nobody saw coming. Deion Sanders. Yeah, Coach Prime himself. And before you laugh it off as some clickbait nonsense, hear me out, because this might actually happen, and it makes way more sense than you think. Let's start with the obvious. The Rooney Rule. Since McDaniel pulled out before an in-person interview, Cleveland is still required to interview a minority candidate. Now, most high-profile coaches know when they're being used to check a box. They're not going to waste their time flying to Cleveland for a fake interview when everyone knows the team already has someone else in mind. It's insulting, and smart coaches see right through it. But here's the twist. Deion Sanders has a built-in reason to be in Cleveland that has nothing to do with football politics. His son, Shedeur, is living there right now. Family visit. Totally legitimate. And if he's already in town, why not stop by the Browns facility? The team satisfies the league requirement. Deion gets a look at an NFL opportunity, and everyone walks away happy. Or do they? Because this is where it gets really interesting. We're talking about Jimmy Haslam here. The same owner who handed Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed $230 million contract. The same guy who's made a career out of chasing headlines and selling tickets. Stability and long-term planning? That's not exactly his track record. What Haslam understands better than anything is spectacle. He knows how to create buzz. And right now, he's looking at a team that desperately needs it. Think about the second half of this past season. Do you really think fans would have packed that stadium if Dillon Gabriel was running the show from week 13 to 18 in meaningless games? Of course not. Haslam needs star power. He needs something that puts butts in seats and gets people talking. And who does that better than Deion Sanders? Now picture this. Coach Prime on the sideline. Shedeur under center. Every single week, the spotlight is on Cleveland. National television. Sold-out crowds. Jerseys flying off the racks. Haslam sees all of that. He sees the vision. And if Kevin Stefanski got pushed out because he wouldn't start Shedeur sooner, would anyone really be shocked? You can feel the owner's fingerprints all over that decision. They wanted a show, not just a football team. And Deion Sanders is the ultimate showman. Sure, the critics are already sharpening their knives. They'll point to his record at Colorado and say he's not ready for the NFL. They'll talk about his 3-win season and claim he doesn't have the experience. But let's be real for a second. This isn't about X's and O's. This is about sizzle. This is about creating an identity. And nobody brings that energy like Coach Prime. Jimmy Haslam knows it. And if Deion walks into that building and does what he always does, connects with people, sells the dream, cracks jokes, makes you believe, there's a legitimate chance Haslam sees more than just a checkbox. He sees dollar signs. He sees ratings. He sees a franchise that finally has something people want to watch. Look, this coaching search has already fallen apart. Their top choice didn't even show up. McDaniel bailed. They're running out of options, and the optics get worse every single day. Bringing in Deion isn't just about satisfying the Rooney Rule anymore. It might actually be the only move they have left that doesn't feel like a complete disaster. Yeah, there's a chance they go the safe route and bring in some low-profile name like the Bears did with Eddie George, just to tick the box. But this is Cleveland. This is the Browns. Logic doesn't always apply here. And let's talk about what Deion and Shedeur have already proven they can do together. At Colorado, Shedeur put up absolutely ridiculous numbers. 37 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions, led the FBS in completion percentage, broke school records left and right. Now I know what you're thinking. The competition level is different. But the chemistry? That's undeniable. And here's the kicker. Stefanski is gone. The guy who refused to build an offense around Shedeur's strengths, the guy who kept running conservative game plans that made no sense for a quarterback with that kind of talent, he's out of the picture. That roadblock has been removed. And that brings me to something else that's been making waves. Baker Mayfield just went public calling out Kevin Stefanski. This isn't ancient history being dug up for clicks. This is fresh, real tension from a guy who gave everything to this franchise, a guy who led the Browns to their first playoff win in forever. And it's impossible to ignore how much better Baker has looked since leaving Cleveland. Better stats, more touchdowns, higher passer rating across the board. The numbers don't lie. Baker's entire career arc changed the moment he got away from Stefanski's system. And what does that tell you? It tells you Stefanski wasn't the guy to develop quarterbacks with confidence, swagger, or the ability to improvise. He was rigid. He was conservative. He stifled talent instead of unleashing it. And now he's gone. Baker even said Stefanski didn't send him a single text after trading him. Think about that. A quarterback who gave his heart and soul to that team, who brought them their most exciting season in decades, shipped off without a word. No goodbye. No acknowledgement. Just gone. That's not how you treat people, and it's definitely not how you build a winning culture. So yeah, Baker's speaking out, and honestly, he's not wrong. His performance in Tampa Bay proves it. Higher completion percentage, better touchdown-to-interception ratio, stronger quarterback rating. That's not luck. That's what happens when you're in a system that actually lets you be yourself. And you have to wonder, was it the same story with Shedeur this season? Every time someone asked him about Stefanski, his answers were flat. Generic. Yeah, he's my coach. We're working on it. We're growing. That's not confidence. That's damage control. There was no connection there, and it showed on the field. Stefanski's play calling never leaned into what makes Shedeur special. The deep throws, the improvisation, the charisma, the ability to make something out of nothing. Instead, we got conservative game plans that looked like they were designed for someone completely different. It felt like Stefanski wanted Dillon Gabriel, not Shedeur Sanders. And that's a problem. So maybe all of this is lining up for a reason. Stefanski's out. Shedeur's in Cleveland. Deion is available and has a legitimate excuse to be in town. If Jimmy Haslam is paying attention, and you know he is, he's absolutely thinking about the possibilities right now. And maybe, just maybe, the fans are ready for it too. Browns Nation has been through everything. The heartbreak, the quarterback carousel, the coaching changes, the blown leads, the what-ifs that haunt you for years. Wouldn't it be something to finally have a story that's bigger than the dysfunction? Something to actually believe in, something to rally behind? Deion brings energy. He brings vision. And whether you love him or hate him, he brings eyeballs. You want Cleveland on national TV every week? You want the stadium sold out? You want your team to finally have an identity that isn't just rebuilding or underachieving. Coach Prime delivers that. Pair him with Shedeur. Give them the right offensive coordinator. Build around their strengths. And this could legitimately be something special. Or it could crash and burn spectacularly. That's always the risk with the Browns, isn't it? But here's my question. Isn't that better than more of the same? The safe move would be to bring in another coordinator looking for his first head coaching shot. Some generic name that makes the talking heads nod approvingly but doesn't actually move the needle. But this is a moment where Cleveland could define their future in a bold, unforgettable way. Even if Deion doesn't end up getting the job, just the fact that he's being seriously considered tells you everything you need to know about where this franchise is right now. This isn't business as usual anymore. This is something different. Something unpredictable. And honestly, after decades of the same old story, maybe that's exactly what the Browns need. So where do you stand on all this? Do you see the potential of Coach Prime leading the Browns and actually turning this thing around? Or do you think it's just more smoke from a franchise that's always chasing the next big headline? I genuinely want to know what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're still with me after all that, do me a favor. Smash that like button, hit subscribe to stay locked in with Browns Breakout, and let's keep this conversation going. Because one way or another, this is about to get very, very interesting.